April 7, 1945. Fairfield Avenue, Bridgeport, Connecticut. 6:22 a.m. Housing Inspector Margaret Walsh couldn't have known that the condemned tenement before her concealed more than building code violations. Behind her, Bridgeport Harbor churned gray under spring rain. Ahead, the skeletal remains of the Precision Tool and Die Company rose like broken teeth against dawn sky. Between the two, 31 months of silence where 63 workers had vanished without anyone asking the right questions. Bridgeport in 1942 existed in a peculiar state of patriotic blindness. The city had transformed overnight from modest manufacturing center into what newspapers called the arsenal of democracy's workshop. When Britain stood alone and America entered the war, Bridgeport's machine shops became lifeline, producing ball bearings, aircraft components, ammunition, precision instruments that crossed Atlantic in endless convoys. The British had scorned American manufacturing. Amateurs with wrenches, one parliament member sneered in 1940. When professionals are needed, they send enthusiasts. But those enthusiasts outproduced the empire. And in that production frenzy, in that patriotic fever where every citizen became warrior of industry, something monstrous found perfect camouflage. Precision Tool and Die occupied converted textile mill on Fairfield Avenue, 4 stories of red brick, 40,000 square feet, employing 237 workers at peak production. Built in 1887, the building had manufactured silk thread, then shoes, then electrical components, adapting to each industrial era like chameleon. In January 1942, when War Production Board issued contracts for machining artillery fuses, the building adapted again. The owner, Victor Ashford, stood 5 feet 11 inches, slim build, perpetually wore expression of earnest concern that made people trust him instinctively. 58 years old, veteran of Great War, recipient of Bronze Star for Valor at Belleau Wood. He spoke at Rotary Club about duty. Donated scrap drives. Flew American flags so large it required special pole. Patriotism, he told reporters when factory opened, is not abstractions. It's precision machined parts delivered on schedule. Every fuse we produce might save American life. That's sacred responsibility. Workers loved him. Paid 15% above union scale. Provided lunch cafeteria. Posted production numbers weekly with handwritten notes. 463 fuses completed. 463 reasons Hitler loses. Magnificent work, team. His plant manager, Ernest Holbrook, 44, was quieter. Taller at 6 feet 2 inches, he had mechanical engineer's precision mind, MIT graduate, 1920, who'd worked Detroit automotive plants before returning to Connecticut. Wore round spectacles, kept clipboard constantly, spoke in clipped technical language. Workers described him as fair but exacting. Mr. Holbrook doesn't accept excuses, machinist Thomas Kerrigan said in March 1942, but he's honest. You do good work, he acknowledges it. You mess up, he explains why and helps you improve. The factory operated 3 shifts, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 24-hour production, 7 days weekly. War doesn't sleep, posters reminded. Neither can we. But workers began noticing something. Mary Kowalczyk, 37, riveter at Remington Arms next door, mentioned it to her husband in May 1942. Precision Tool has new workers every few weeks. Training constantly. But they're on war contract, shouldn't they keep experienced people? Labor shortage, her husband suggested. Everyone's hiring. Workers jump for better wages. Maybe, Mary said. But she noticed something else. The night shift workers at Precision looked wrong. Moved slowly. Didn't talk during shift changes. Stared straight ahead like sleepwalkers. She should have said something. The first victim arrived seeking exactly what America promised, purpose and contribution. James Mitchell, 52 years old. Born in Manchester, England, James had immigrated in 1911, Worked Connecticut machine shops 3 decades, raised 2 sons, both now serving overseas. Robert, 27, was with 3rd Army in Europe. William, 24, was Navy gunner in Pacific. James's wife Dorothy had died in 1940, leaving him alone in small house on Maple Street. He'd tried enlisting when war began. Army rejected him. Too old, high blood pressure. "Go home, old man," recruiting sergeant said. "Let young men do the fighting." James felt useless. His sons were risking lives. He was stamping metal parts at factory making civilian goods. Wrong. Wasteful. On April 15, 1942, he saw advertisement in Bridgeport Post. Precision Tool and Die Company immediate openings. Experienced machinists war production. Critical need night shift. Premium wages help win the war apply in person. 847 Fairfield Avenue. James applied that afternoon. Ashford interviewed him personally. "You have sons serving?" Ashford asked, reading application. "Both. Europe and Pacific." Ashford's eyes moistened. "Then you understand. Every piece we make might protect them. I need men who understand that stakes. When do I start?" "Monday. Night shift, 10 p.m. We provide boarding for night workers, efficiency, you understand. Sleep during day in dormitory on 4th floor, work through night, maximize production." Does that suit? James felt salvation. Contributing finally. Meaningful work. "Yes, sir. I'll do anything to help bring my boys home." Ashford shook his hand firmly. "You're patriot, Mr. Mitchell. America needs men like you." James Mitchell began work Monday, April 20, 1942. Nobody saw him alive after April 27. But nobody questioned his absence. Ashford explained to anyone who asked, Mitchell had family emergency. Returned to England, mother ill. Gave 2 days' notice, very apologetic. War makes everyone's life complicated. The story was perfect. Plausible. Compassionate even. It was also completely false. The pattern, though invisible then, was already established. Ashford and Holbrook had discovered what the British Empire couldn't comprehend. Industrial patriotism created perfect cover for systematic murder. They targeted specific victims. Men alone, widowed, divorced, unmarried. Older workers, 40 to 60 years old, estranged from families desperate to contribute to war effort carrying savings or life insurance no-close community ties. The War Production Board mandated no questions asked about workers. National emergency. Labor shortage. If someone could machine parts, you hired them immediately. Background checks? Luxury for peacetime. Ashford and Holbrook posted advertisements in newspapers across Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Night shift premium wages. Always night shift. Always boarding provided. The boarding arrangement was key. 4th floor of factory had been converted to dormitory, 40 cots, common bathroom, kitchen. Efficiency measure, Ashford explained to War Production Board inspector. Night workers sleep during day, eliminates commute time, increases productive hours. Other factories did similar things. Nothing unusual. Except Precision Tools dormitory had modifications others lacked. Windows reinforced with steel bars, fire safety, prevents falls, single door with exterior lock, security, tools worth thousands, basement access via freight elevator, material storage, soundproofing, so day workers don't disturb night sleepers. Every modification had reasonable explanation. Every modification served darker purpose. By August 1942, 11 men had left for family emergencies, or found better positions elsewhere from precision tool night shift. Fellow workers barely noticed. Turnover was normal in wartime. Labor shortage meant constant hiring, constant departures. But Mary Kowalczyk noticed something else. She worked riveting shift 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Remington Arms, directly adjacent to Precision Tool. Her station faced their loading dock. She watched trucks come and go. In September 1942, she told her husband, "Precision gets deliveries at 3 a.m. every Tuesday and Friday. Unmarked trucks. Men unload wooden crates, very careful, like carrying eggs. Takes them to basement. But they're machining fuses. What requires 3 a.m. delivery?" "Raw materials," her husband said. "Classified military shipments. Don't ask questions about war work, Mary." "But the crates are wrong size for metal stock." "And why basement? Machine shop is second floor." "Mary." Her husband's voice carried warning. "War Production Board has regulations. You see something suspicious, you report through channels. But jumping to conclusions helps nobody. Precision Tool is producing for military. That's sacred. Don't spread rumors that hurt war effort." She dropped it. Patriotic duty meant trusting other patriots. That trust killed 63 people. The factory operated on principle that would have made any efficiency expert proud: vertical integration of murder. Recruitment, Ashford's specialty: identify isolated workers through carefully worded advertisements. Interview personally. Verify they're unmarried, alone, desperate. Hire immediately for night shift with boarding. Assessment. First week, observe which workers carry savings, discuss life insurance, mention bank accounts. Holbrook documented everything in personnel files marked Confidential, War Department. Isolation. Week 2, move target workers to Special Projects Dormitory, separate section of 4th floor with additional security. Classified work, they were told. Higher clearance level. Better pay. The special dormitory had no windows at all. Processing. Week 3, drug evening meals with sodium pentothal, truth serum, used by OSS for interrogation. Extract financial information. Forge signatures. Empty bank accounts. Change life insurance beneficiaries. Disposal. Week 4, when assets were extracted completely, execute victim in basement. Bodies were placed in industrial acid tanks used for metal etching, 55-gallon drums of hydrochloric acid heated to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Complete dissolution took 18 to 24 hours. Residue was neutralized, diluted, dumped into Bridgeport Harbor with industrial waste discharge, legal under wartime environmental exemptions. The perfect crime, repeated weekly, hidden behind patriotic production. Ashford kept meticulous financial records. In notebook disguised as production log, police later found. April 1942, 3 units processed. Total recovery: $4,780 May 1942 to 4 units processed. Total recovery: $6,340 June 1942 to 5 units processed. Total recovery: $9,125. By December 1944, Precision Tool and Die had murdered 63 workers and stolen $147,000, equivalent to $2.5 million today. They would have continued indefinitely. But Ashford made one critical error. He got greedy. In January 1945, he began recruiting younger workers. Men with families. Men who'd be missed. And someone finally noticed the pattern. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Brennan, 34 years old, lost her brother at Midway in June 1942. Cryptographer on USS Yorktown, Michael Brennan had decoded Japanese signals until Torpedo sent him to Pacific Floor. Sarah transferred from Naval Intelligence to War Production Board Industrial Inspection Division with singular purpose: make sure American production lived up to sacrifice men like Michael were making. She returned to civilian oversight role in September 1943 with mind trained by Navy to spot anomalies in data. Pattern recognition. Statistical analysis. How to notice when numbers didn't match what they should. Her first day auditing Connecticut defense contractors, reviewing production reports, she noticed something impossible. Precision Tool and Die, she told Supervisor Harold Jensen, shows 237% worker turnover in 18 months. Labor shortage, Jensen said, barely glancing up. Workers chase better wages. Normal in wartime. 237% means average worker stays less than 3 months. But they're machining artillery fuses, precision work requiring extensive training. High turnover should devastate production numbers. And their production increased 40% over same period. That's statistically impossible. Either numbers are fabricated or something else explains it. Jensen finally looked at her. You suggesting Victor Ashford, Bronze Star veteran, Rotary Club president, man who bought $50,000 in war bonds, is falsifying production reports? I'm suggesting numbers don't add up. Which means investigation. Brennan. Jensen's voice hardened. Your job is ensure production quotas are met. Precision Tool exceeds every target. They're model contractor. I won't have you harassing patriots based on statistical quibbling. But Sarah had spent 2 years in naval intelligence finding patterns in noise. She knew when silence was signal. She started with personnel records. War Production Board required all defense contractors submit monthly employment reports, names, positions, wages, hours worked. Precision Tools reports were impeccable. Every worker documented. Every paycheck accounted for. But Sarah cross-referenced names with Social Security Administration records. 47 workers listed as resigned or transferred had never filed tax returns after leaving Precision Tool. Not filed in different state. Not stopped working. Never filed again. Anywhere. As if they'd ceased to exist. Maybe they joined military, Jensen suggested when she showed him findings. I checked selective service records. None were drafted. None enlisted. Maybe they died. I checked death certificates for Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York. No matches. So they moved far away. California. Florida. People relocate for war work. 47 men, all employed at same factory, all disappeared from federal records after leaving? That's not relocating. That's vanishing. Jensen rubbed his temples. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting Victor Ashford is lying about why workers leave. And I want to know why. Based on what? Missing tax returns? Men can fall through cracks, Brennan. System isn't perfect. Patterns don't lie. Statistics don't have patriotic bias. Something is wrong at Precision Tool. Jensen thought long moment. Finally, fine. Visit the factory. Inspect records. Interview Ashford. But Brennan, if you're wrong, if this is wild goose chase that damages reputation of legitimate defense contractor, your career ends. Understood. Sarah thought of Michael, sinking through dark water, clutching decoded messages that would help win the war. Understood. October 15th, 1943. 10:30 a.m. Sarah's first visit to Precision Tool and Die revealed nothing except how perfect everything appeared. The factory hummed with precision. 3 shifts running smoothly. Workers focused, productive. Production floor immaculate. Safety protocols exceeded standards. Quality control officer checked every fuse personally. Victor Ashford greeted her in office decorated with patriotic posters, photographs of him presenting checks to Red Cross, framed Bronze Star citation. Lieutenant Commander Brennan. Honor to meet you. His handshake was firm, eye contact sincere. How can Precision Tool assist War Production Board? Routine inspection. I'm auditing personnel records for Connecticut defense contractors. Of course. Ernest. He called to Holbrook, who appeared immediately. Bring all personnel files. Commander Brennan needs them. The files were perfect. Every worker documented. Hiring dates, termination dates, reasons for leaving. Signatures on resignation letters. Forwarding addresses. You have high turnover, Sarah noted. Labor shortage. Ashford's expression showed appropriate concern. Men find better wages elsewhere. Women leave for family duties. It's frustrating. Training takes weeks, then they depart. But what can we do? We serve as training. Ground for industry, I suppose. These 47 workers. Sarah had list of missing tax filers. Where did they go? Ashford consulted records. Let's see. Mitchell went to England. Family emergency. Rodriguez transferred to Springfield Armory. Peterson found work in Buffalo. Higher wages. Chan returned to California. Should I continue? Each explanation sounded plausible. Documented. Logical. May I visit dormitory? Certainly. Though it's empty now, day shift. Night workers are sleeping. He walked her to 4th floor. The dormitory was exactly what it should be. Clean, organized, 40 cots neatly made, common area with radio and magazines, kitchen with coffee percolator. Bathroom facilities exceeded minimum standards. Everything normal. Everything wrong. Sarah couldn't articulate what bothered her. It was feeling more than evidence. The way Holbrook watched from doorway with expression too neutral. The way Ashford answered questions fractionally too quickly. The way everything was too perfect. No clutter, no personality, no lived-in feel despite 40 men supposedly sleeping here daily. Very impressive, she told Ashford. We take care of our workers. They're fighting war through production. Least we can do is provide decent conditions. Sarah left with terrible certainty and zero evidence. Over next 16 months, she developed obsession Jensen called dangerous paranoia. She visited Precision Tool monthly. Always welcomed. Always shown everything. Always found nothing. But disappearances continued. November 1943, 4 workers transferred. December 1943, 2 workers resigned. January 1944, 3 workers drafted, but selective service had no record. Sarah documented each. Tried contacting former workers through addresses on file. Letters returned undeliverable. Phone numbers disconnected. Forwarding addresses led nowhere. She investigated Ashford's finances. Found something impossible. His personal bank account showed deposits totaling $89,000 since January 1942, far exceeding salary from factory, which operated on thin profit margins due to fixed War Production Board contract prices. Maybe he has investments, Jensen said. Stocks. Real estate. War has created opportunities. I checked. No stock transactions. No real estate purchases. Just regular cash deposits, $2,000 to $5,000 every 2 weeks. Maybe family money. Inheritance. His parents died poor. No inheritance records. Then I don't know Brennan. But unexplained wealth isn't evidence of murder. It's evidence of unexplained wealth. Maybe he's running black market on side. Maybe he's embezzling materials. Neither concerns War Production Board unless it affects output. What if he's killing workers and stealing their money? Jensen stared at her. Based on what? Missing tax returns and cash deposits? That's insanity, Sarah. Victor Ashford is war hero, respected businessman, pillar of community. You're suggesting he's serial killer because numbers feel wrong to you. Yes. Then get me evidence. Real evidence. Body. Witness. Something concrete. Because I won't authorize investigation that destroys innocent man's reputation based on statistical anxiety. Sarah needed witness. Someone who'd been inside and survived. February 3, 1945. 11:47 p.m. The witness came to her. Peter Kowalski, 44, Polish immigrant, machinist, stumbled into War Production Board field office in New Haven, Connecticut, 50 miles from Bridgeport. Hypothermic, malnourished, wrists raw from restraints, suffering what doctor diagnosed as acute drug withdrawal, likely barbiturate or opiate poisoning administered over weeks. "They kill workers," he kept repeating. "Take money. Acid tanks. Bodies dissolve. No evidence. No bodies. Nothing." Sarah was summoned from Bridgeport. Arrived 3 a.m. Found Peter sedated but conscious. "Who?" she asked gently. "Ashford. Holbrook. The factory. They choose workers who are alone. Watch who has savings. Drug the food. Take you to basement." I pretended, swallowed pills but held under tongue. Spit out later. Acted sedated. 4 days I waited. They were going to process me tonight. I heard them talking. Good assets, this one. $8,000 plus life insurance. When they moved me to basement, I fought. Hit Holbrook with pipe. Ran. "How did you get to New Haven?" "Stole car. Left it running somewhere. I don't remember. Just drove. Away. Had to get away." Dr. Marcus Chen examined Peter at Yale New Haven Hospital. His findings, recorded in medical report, documented. Patient exhibits ligature marks consistent with prolonged restraint on wrists, ankles. Blood analysis shows barbiturate levels indicating chronic forced sedation. Malnutrition consistent with inadequate feeding over 2 to 3 weeks. Psychological state indicates recent severe trauma. Physical evidence supports testimony of imprisonment and systematic drugging. Based on medical evaluation, patient's account is credible. Sarah finally had what she needed. February 7, 1945. She presented case to Jensen. 63 missing workers, financial irregularities, witness testimony, medical evidence. "Enough for federal investigation?" she asked. Jensen studied documents. Thought long moment. "Barely. But Brennan, if you're wrong, if Kowalski is lying or delusional, if Precision Tool is innocent, the scandal destroys our credibility. Defense contractors will scream harassment. Production will suffer. Your career ends. Mine too, probably." Sarah thought of 47 names. 63 lives. Michael sinking through dark water, dying so others could live. "I'm not wrong. Then we go in force. Tomorrow. Combined raid, FBI, military police, Connecticut State Police, War Production Board investigators. Because if you're right." Jensen met her eyes. "We need to see what's in that basement." The raid force assembled in pre-dawn darkness. 26 federal agents, 12 military police, 8 state troopers, Lieutenant Commander Brennan, and Dr. Chen, who'd volunteered as medical examiner in case there are survivors. Nobody believed there would be. They surrounded Precision Tool and die before dawn. Night shift was ending. Workers filing out looked confused, then terrified as armed officers blocked exits. "Nobody leaves," FBI Special Agent Thomas Crawford announced. War Production Board investigation. Everyone to cafeteria for questioning. Victor Ashford emerged from office, expression perfectly calibrated between confused and cooperative. "Agent Crawford? What's this about? We're on tight production schedule." "You're under investigation for murder, Mr. Ashford. 63 counts." Ashford's face showed exactly right amount of shock. "Murder? That's insane. Who am I supposed to have murdered?" "Your workers. The ones you claimed resigned or transferred. This is outrageous. Based on what evidence? We have a witness. Peter Kowalski. He survived. For just fractional second, less than heartbeat, something flickered across Ashford's face. Not shock. Not confusion. Calculation. Then the mask returned. I don't know anyone named Kowalski. You've made terrible mistake, Agent. I'm calling my lawyer. You do that. Meanwhile, we're searching this facility. Every inch. The main production floors revealed nothing. Clean. Organized. Legitimate manufacturing operation producing exactly what contracts specified. But Sarah directed teams to basement. The freight elevator descended 3 floors below street level. Unusual depth for factory. Foundation required it, building plans explained. Bedrock at 30 feet necessitated deeper excavation. The elevator opened to corridor. And the smell hit first. Chemical. Acidic. Wrong. Like meat left in vinegar mixed with industrial solvent. The basement extended under entire building, 40,000 square feet of space not shown on any official floor plans. Network of rooms branching off central corridor lit by bare bulbs. First room, personnel files. But not the sanitized versions shown to inspectors. These were real records. Filing cabinets contained detailed dossiers on every victim. Complete financial records, bank accounts, life insurance, assets, forged signatures, practiced until perfect, documentation of drugging schedule, dosages, timing, effects, processing dates, when assets were extracted, when execution occurred, disposal confirmation, acid tank number, dissolution time. Sarah opened file labeled Mitchell, James. Unit number 003. Recruited April 15, 1942. Assets, $3,400 savings, $5,000 life insurance. Isolation phase, April 20th to 27th. Responded well to sodium pentothal. Extraction phase. Signatures obtained April 25th. Banks cleared April 26th. Processing, April 27th, 11:30 p.m. Tank number 3. Complete dissolution by April 28th, 8 p.m. Net recovery, $8,127, includes insurance payout. Notes: Unit expressed desire to help boys overseas. Ironic given outcome. Recommend continuing to target patriotic motivation in recruitment. James Mitchell reduced to accounting entry. Asset processed. Profit calculated. Agent Crawford read over Sarah's shoulder. Jesus Christ. It's like inventory management. They systematized murder. The file's detailed methodology refined over 3 years. Phase 1. Recruitment. Advertisements targeting isolated, patriotic workers. Personal interviews by Ashford. Assessment of assets. Immediate hiring for night shift with boarding. Phase 2. Assessment. Week 1 workers housed in standard dormitory. Holbrook observed, documented which workers had savings, discussed finances, mentioned insurance. Friendly conversations over meals. Phase 3. Selection. Week 2 high-asset workers moved to Special Projects Dormitory. Separate section with soundproofing, reinforced locks. Classified work requiring security clearance. Phase 4. Extraction. Week 3 evening meals drugged with sodium pentothal and barbiturates. Workers became compliant, suggestible. Holbrook and Ashford extracted PIN numbers, safe combinations, insurance policy numbers. Practiced signatures until perfect. Made phone calls to banks pretending to be workers. Transferred funds. Changed beneficiaries. Phase 5. Processing. Week 4 when assets fully extracted, workers moved to basement. Executed by various means, strangulation, overdose, suffocation, methods leaving minimal evidence. Bodies placed in acid tanks. Phase 6, disposal, after 18 to 24 hours, remains completely dissolved. Residue neutralized, diluted, dumped into harbor with industrial waste. Absolutely nothing remained. Phase 7, documentation, personnel files updated with cover story, resigned, transferred, family emergency. Letters forged. References provided to future employers who called, nobody ever did. Case closed. Next unit recruited. Second room, the Special Projects Dormitory. 12 beds with restraint straps hidden under mattresses. Windows completely blacked out. Single door with industrial lock requiring key. Medicine cabinet filled with sodium pentothal ampoules, barbiturate tablets, syringes. On wall, instruction sheet in Holbrook's precise handwriting. Sedation protocol day 1 to 3, 50 mg pentothal in evening meal day 4 to 7, 75 mg pentothal, 15 mg barbiturate day 8 to 14, 100 mg pentothal, 25 mg barbiturate day 15 plus. Maintain 100 mg per 25 mg until processing critical. Never miss dose. Awareness creates problems. Monitor for resistance, any sign of faking, increase dosage immediately. They'd refined drugging like pharmaceutical company refining medication. Third room, Holbrook's office. Desk, filing cabinet, and ledger. Sarah opened it. Found bookkeeping more meticulous than any accountant's. February 1942. Operations commence March 1942. Unit number 001, Rodriguez, M. $2,180 April 1942. Unit number 002, Stevens, R. $4,340 April 1942. Unit number 003, Mitchell, J. $8,127. Page after page. 63 entries. Each victim reduced to unit number, name, amount recovered. At bottom of ledger, Ashford had written philosophical justification. Asterisk, we live in age of total war. Every resource must be mobilized for victory. These men wanted to contribute but lacked skills for maximum value. We enabled them to contribute their ultimate asset, capital. Their sacrifice funds our production, which saves American lives overseas. In this light, we are facilitators of patriotic duty. They died meaninglessly alone. We gave their deaths purpose. The money extracted purchases materials, improves equipment, increases output. Each victim enables us to produce fuses that protect soldiers. Mathematically, 63 men sacrificed equals $147,000 recovered equals equipment producing 40,000 additional fuses equals potentially 400 American lives saved, estimated 10% effectiveness increase. The mathematics justifies methodology. Morality is luxury during total war. Efficiency is only ethics that matters. History will judge us as patriots who understood difficult truths. Some must die so others survive. We simply selected who. Asterisk. Sarah read it twice. Felt rage so pure it burned. Not hot rage, cold, calculating fury that she'd been right. That Jensen had delayed. That men had died while bureaucrats demanded more evidence. Fourth room, the acid tanks. 8 55-gallon drums arranged in rows. Each with heating element attached. Each containing hydrochloric acid solution. Each marked with innocuous label, metal etching, authorized personnel only. Forensic team tested contents. Found human fatty tissue residue in all 8 tanks. DNA analysis, primitive in 1945 but possible, confirmed at least 12 different individuals from samples. Dr. Chen examined tanks, then excused himself to vomit. Fifth room, empty except for one occupied bed. David Martinez, 38 years old, Puerto Rican machinist, had been dead approximately 6 hours. Cause of death appeared to be barbiturate overdose, Massive dose intended for execution. Wrists showed ligature marks from recent restraint. Next to bed, clipboard with processing checklist. Asterisk, unit number 063, Martinez, D. Assets documented, $6,200 savings, $10,000 life insurance, signatures practiced and perfected, banks contacted, accounts transferred, insurance beneficiary changed to V. Ashford, cousin claim, final sedation administered 11 p.m., February 7th, processing scheduled, 2 a.m., February 8th. Tank preparation. Incomplete, interrupted, asterisk. They'd been processing him when raid began. Killed him quickly. Left body rather than risk moving it. David Martinez had sons serving overseas. 2 boys in Pacific. He'd been working to send them care packages. Letters found in his personal effects, never mailed. Miguel and Carlos, saving money for when you come home. Working hard. Making fuses that might protect you. Miss you both every day. Stay safe. Love, Papa. He died yards away from those letters. 6th room, evidence storage. Boxes of personal effects from victims. Wallets, photographs, wedding rings, military medals, family letters. Items too risky to sell but too valuable, sentimentally, to destroy immediately. Ashford and Holbrook had planned to dispose of them eventually. Just hadn't gotten around to it. Each box labeled with unit number, name, processing date. FBI photographed everything. Hundreds of photographs of families who'd never see these men again. Children who'd never know why father stopped writing. Wives who'd remarried assuming abandonment. Sarah stood in rooms surrounded by boxes of lives, reading letters from people who died believing they were contributing to victory. James Mitchell's box contained wallet with Robert and William's military ID photos letter from Robert, dated March 1942. Dad, don't worry about us. Keep making those parts. Every fuse you make might save a life. Love, Rob wedding ring, Dorothy's name engraved inside, Bronze Star citation, James had earned one too, Great War. James died thinking he was helping protect his sons. Instead, he'd fed monster wrapped in flag. Agent Crawford found Ashford and Holbrook in office, burning documents. Stop. Crawford drew weapon. Ashford raised hands calmly. Destroying proprietary manufacturing information. Can't let competitors. You're under arrest for 63 counts of murder. Prove it, Ashford said. You have circumstantial evidence. Financial records could be explained. Witness could be lying. Bodies? Where are bodies? You have no corpus delicti. No physical proof anyone died. We have tissue residue in acid tanks. DNA evidence. Prove it's human. Prove it's from murder rather than legitimate disposal of medical waste. This factory produces precision equipment. We handle biological materials for testing purposes. Holbrook spoke for first time. We documented everything properly. All personnel files show legitimate resignations. All financial transactions were legal. Workers signed documents voluntarily. If they claim coercion, where's proof? Their word against ours. Sarah stepped forward. Peter Kowalski survived. He'll testify. Ashford smiled. One traumatized man claiming abuse? He's clearly disturbed. Probably drug addict who stole from us, got fired, now seeking revenge through false accusations. His evidence is hallucinations from withdrawal. We have David Martinez's body. Tragic. Worker overdosed on street drugs, came to factory seeking help, died despite our intervention. Happens frequently with addicts. Very sad. You kept files on every victim. Detailed records of how you killed them. Personnel records. Properly maintained. If you interpret them sinisterly, that reflects your paranoia, not our actions. Ashford was right about one thing. prosecution would be difficult. They'd systematized murder so efficiently, covered tracks so completely, that even with evidence, conviction required jury to believe unbelievable. But they'd made one critical error. They'd documented everything. In an era before computers, before digital records, documentation was liability. Paper trail led everywhere. Every notation, every calculation, every cold assessment of human value in dollars. It was all there in Holbrook's meticulous handwriting, Ashford's philosophical justifications. Final accounting, completed by FBI forensic team. 63 workers murdered. David Martinez found in basement, cause of death, barbiturate overdose. Tissue residue from at least 12 individuals found in acid tanks. $147,000 stolen from victims through systematic fraud. Personal effects from 61 victims recovered, 2 sets already disposed of. 47 families never learned fate of missing men, bodies dissolved completely. The basement was documented by FBI photographers, then sealed by federal order. The factory was shut down, equipment seized as evidence. Peter Kowalski spent 2 months in hospital recovering. Testified at trial but suffered permanent psychological damage. Died by suicide in 1952, leaving note, "I still hear them discussing which tank to use for me." Chapter 4. Industrial Sacrifice, 2.5 to 3 minutes. March 1945 to December 1946. The trial of Victor Ashford and Ernest Holbrook began September 10, 1945, 1 week after Japan surrendered. Lasted 33 days. Prosecution presented ledgers, photographs, testimony, medical evidence. Defense argued impossibility. War hero murders workers? Respected businessman systematically kills employees? It's fantastic. Jury deliberated 6 days. Guilty on all 63 counts of first-degree murder. Both men were sentenced to death by electric chair. Victor Ashford asked permission to speak at sentencing. Judge Morrison allowed it. "You convict us for applying principles you celebrate daily," Ashford told the courtroom. "America mobilized every resource for war. We mobilized human capital others wasted. Those men were alone, aging, limited skills. We enabled them to contribute their highest value, financial assets converted to production equipment. Ford didn't ask workers dying from industrial accidents if they consented to risk. Slaughterhouses don't mourn cattle. They optimize efficiency. We saw lonely men as resource to be mobilized for victory. You're horrified because we removed patriotic rhetoric and showed ugly mathematics underneath. The British scorned American ingenuity until ordinary citizens built weapons that won the war. We built more efficient system. That's American innovation. You prosecute us for being too American." Ernest Holbrook spoke simply. From engineering perspective, methodology was sound. System worked flawlessly. Proud of that. December 3, 1946. Both men were executed by electric chair at Connecticut State Prison. Ashford's last words, "I regret nothing except losing war. Had we won, I'd be decorated, not executed." Holbrook's last words, "Mathematics doesn't lie. We were efficient." Their ashes were dumped at sea. The community response. On December 7, 1946, Bridgeport held memorial service. 63 names read aloud. Each family received folded American flag. Mary Kowalczyk spoke, "We saw. We noticed. We said nothing because questioning patriots seemed unpatriotic. These men died because we chose comfort over vigilance. May God forgive us." The factory site became empty lot, later redeveloped as shopping plaza in 1967. No memorial marks the location. Institutional legacy. The precision tool case revolutionized worker protection. War Production Board established Worker Safety Division requiring monthly interviews with random workers at all defense contractors. Connecticut passed Industrial Housing Safety Act, 1947 mandatory inspections, windows in all sleeping quarters, prohibition of exterior dormitory locks, background checks for government contractors. Department of Labor created Missing Worker Registry. Any resigned worker triggered automatic investigation. Policy exists today. FBI catalogued it as institutional camouflage crime, using legitimate business to conceal systematic murder. Victims' families. Only 16 of 63 victims were identified from personal effects. James Mitchell's sons Robert and William both survived the war. Returned May 1946 to learn their father hadn't abandoned them. He'd been murdered while trying to help protect them. Neither recovered fully. David Martinez's sons Miguel and Carlos received their father's final unmailed letters as evidence after trial. Both served complete military tours, returned to Empty House in 1947. Neither married. 47 families never learned what happened. Some placed newspaper advertisements for decades. If you know fate of name, please contact us. We only need to know. Nobody ever responded. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Brennan received Navy Cross, promoted to commander, continued investigating contractor fraud through 1950s. In her unpublished memoir, she wrote, *, 63 men died because system prioritized production over protection. I caught 2 men who exploited it too obviously. But Ashford was right about one thing. America did calculate acceptable casualties. Did sacrifice workers for production targets. Where exactly is line between exploitation and execution? When does working someone to death become killing them? We won the war. Built weapons that crushed enemies. But what did we become while building that arsenal? Precision tool was crime. But it was also mirror showing ugliest version of principles we celebrated. Efficiency über alles. Production above humanity. Victory justifying any cost. *. The site today. The shopping plaza at 847 Fairfield Avenue shows no indication of history. Shoppers buy groceries, browse clothing, unaware that beneath parking lot, 63 men dissolved in acid tanks. In 2008, construction crew found remnants of acid tanks 30 feet down. City claimed environmental concerns. Tanks were removed, area sealed with concrete. Nothing said publicly. Final statistics. 63 workers murdered, April 1942 to February 1945. 16 victims identified, 47 never identified. $147,000 stolen. 1 survivor. Peter Kowalski died by suicide 1952. 0 bodies recovered intact. The lesson unlearned. America won World War II through industrial might. Ordinary citizens built weapons that defeated enemies the British said couldn't be defeated. But Victor Ashford was right about uncomfortable truth. Victory was built on calculating human value in monetary terms. Workers were resources. Efficiency was paramount. Precision tool and die was crime. But where exactly does exploitation become execution? Every factory calculating acceptable injury rates, every corporation knowing people will die from their product but deciding profit justifies casualties. They embody same principle, operating within law. Bridgeport buried precision tool. Sealed basement. Paved over earth. But burying isn't forgetting. And learning without changing is just remembering horror without preventing return. The factory is gone. The principle remains. The British scorned American workshops until ordinary citizens outbuilt an empire. Nobody laughed about what happened when efficiency principles designed for metal were applied to flesh. Precision Tool and Die Company operated from 1942 to 1945. The building was demolished in 1947. The site was paved in 1967. No memorial exists. 63 men entered seeking to contribute to victory. None left alive. Their names deserve remembering. Their deaths demand vigilance. Because patriotism without humanity isn't service. It's just murder wrapped in a flag.